Welcome everyone for today's class. In this class, we are going to discuss about differential thermal analysis, that is DTA. What is DTA and what is the principle of differential thermal analysis? Here, the substance to be analyzed and then inert reference materials like alumina are heated or cooled in a given environmental and at controlled rate. Whenever the substance to be analyzed undergoes an endothermic change, like when it melts or when it is dehydrate, the temperature of the substance will be lower than that of the reference material. On the other hand, if the substance to be analyzed undergoes an exothermic change, its temperature will be higher than that of the reference material. When the substance undergo observation does not undergo any heat change, there will be no difference in temperature between the sample and the reference material. These temperature differences, that is a delta T, are plotted against temperature or time. So when we plot the temperature difference between um, temperature difference and the temperature or a time, we will get the thermogram of differential thermal analysis. Here, the Lee Chartier studied clays and minerals by an examination of temperature time curves. Later, the Robert Hastings improved technique by introducing thermocouples. And if we try to define the principle of the differential thermal analysis in short, DTA is a technique in which the temperature between sample and thermally inert reference substances is continuously recorded as a function of temperature or time. So here the DTA principle. In this principle, differential thermal analysis is a technique in which the temperature of the substance under investigation is compared with the temperature of a thermally inert material. The thermogram of differential thermal analysis is shown in the figure. Here there are two curves present in this differential thermal analysis thermogram. The one is exothermic, the another one is endothermic curve. This differential temperature is then plotted against time or against the temperature, that is called the thermogram, already we discussed. The area under a DTA peak is the enthalpy change and is not affected by the heat capacity of the sample. And here, so this is the exothermic peak and this is the endothermic peak in this DTA thermogram. In DTA thermogram, both sample and reference material must be heated under um, carefully controlled conditions. If zero temperature difference between sample and reference material, then the sample does not undergo any chemical or physical changes. If any reaction like physical or chemical changes occur, then it takes place. Temperature difference will occur between sample and reference material. Some changes result in heat being absorbed by the sample, that is already we saw in the thermogram of DTA. These types of changes are called endothermic, that is, if the heat is absorbed by the sample, those types are called endothermic peak. For example, if endothermic changes include phase changes such as melting, vaporization, sublimation, and some transitions between two different crystal structures or a material. Chemical reactions can be endothermic, including dehydration, decomposition, oxidation, reduction, that is redox reaction, and solid state reactions. Then the other changes result in heat being given off by the sample. That is, heat may be um, evolved in the during the reaction. Such changes are termed exothermic. For example, exothermic changes include phase changes such as freezing, that is crystallization, some transitions between different crystal structures, and chemical reactions like decomposition, oxidation, reduction, and chemisorption can be exothermic. There are also physical changes that are not simple phase changes that still cause the sample temperature to change. For example, some for this physical changes include adsorption and desorption of gases from surfaces and glass transitions in amorphous glasses and some polymers. The glass transitions is a change in an amorphous material from a brittle vitreous state to a plastic or rubber like state. Glass transitions are second order phase transitions. The reverse transitions achieved by supercooling a viscous liquid into the glass state is called vitrification. And then we shall move into the instrumentation of sample holder. So instrumentation of differential thermal analysis. In this, uh, the major parts present in the DTA instrumentation is atmospheric control, sample holder, temperature sensor, furnace, furnace temperature sensor, recording balance, and balancing control. So here we are going to discuss the mainly about these parts in this DTA instrument. They are the furnace and the furnace holder and furnace programmer and controller, that is FTS, detectors or temperature sensors, and recorder. First we shall take sample holder. The sample holder, the sample and reference crucibles are generally metallic, which may consist of aluminum and platinum, or ceramic, that is silica, and may or may not have a lid. Many metal pans with lids have the lid crimped on using a special tool. For best results are obtained when the area of contact between the sample and the pan or crucible is maximized. The samples are generally in the 1 to 10 milligram range for analytical applications. The dimensions of the two crucibles and of the cell walls are as nearly identical as possible. Furthermore, the weights of the sample and the reference should be uh, virtually equal. That is, the sample holder holds the sample and the reference material. Then, if you take the furnace here taken is to heat the sample. The sample and the reference should be matched thermally and arranged systematically with the furnace so that they are both heated or cooled in an identical manner. The metal block surrounding the wells acts as a heat sink. The temperatures of the heat sink is slowly increased using an internal heater. The sink in turn simultaneously heats the sample and reference material. And then the sensors and recording systems. In this, In this, a pair of matched thermocouples is used. One pair is in contact with the sample or the sample container. The other pair is in contact with the reference. The output of the differential thermocouple, it is TS, TR or uh, the delta T, is amplified and sent to the data acquisition system. This allows the difference temperatures in between the sample and the reference to be recorded as a function of either the sample temperature or the reference uh, temperature or time. So this is the black diagram of DTA instrument. So in this we have majorly the furnace, sample holder, a reference material, the sample, and computer and programmer and sensor or amplifier is given here. So in this black diagram, a furnace uh, is used to heat the sample, and the sample holder is to hold the sample and a reference material, and a furnace programmer and controller to increase the furnace and the sample black temperature at a linear rate per minute. This is done either by increasing the voltage through the heater element by a motor driven variable transformer or by a thermocouple actuated feedback by of controller. And then we have detectors or the temperature sensors. So in this, these are the thermocouple assemblies inserted separately in the sample and the reference material, which is given in the figure. These continuously measure the difference in temperature between the sample and the reference material, and microvolt level signals are got. These are sent to the amplifier, and then it is recorded. In the recorder, the signals got from the thermocouple amplified by about 1000 times, and the difference signals is recorded on the y-axis of millivolt recorder. The temperature of the furnace is measured by separate uh, thermocouple and is recorded on the x-axis. So that is the operating temperature for DTA instruments, or generally room temperature to about uh, room temperature to about 1600 degrees Celsius. Although one manufacturer makes a DTA capable of operating from 150 degrees Celsius to 2400 degrees Celsius. To reach the very low subambient temperatures, a liquid nitrogen cooling accessory is needed. Some low temperatures, but not 150 degrees Celsius, may be reached with electrical cooling devices or with forced air cooling. When a physical changes takes place in the sample, heat is absorbed or generated. For example, when a metal carbonate decomposes, that is CO2 is evolved. This is an endothermic reaction. Heat is absorbed and the sample temperature decreases. The sample is now at a lower temperature than the reference. The temperature difference between the sample and the reference generates a net signal which is recorded. Now we know what is the principle behind DTA and what the instrumentation is behind differential thermal analysis. Now we shall see some of the applications of differential thermal analysis. The major application of the differential thermal analysis, that is, the DTA is very useful in the identification of dyes melting point that can be easily determined, and then differential thermal analysis technique is used for the quality control of a large number of substances like cement, glass, textiles, explosive, and etc. This DTA technique is used to study the thermal stability of inorganic compounds and complexes. Therefore, the DTA is based on changes of heat flow into the sample. Using differential thermal analysis, we can detect the decomposition or volatilization of the sample just as we can with the, the thermogravimetric analysis. In addition, however, physical changes that do not involve weight changes can be detected by DTA. Such changes include crystallization, melting changes in solid crystal phases, and homogeneous reactions in the solid state. In each of these changes, there is a flow of heat between the sample and its surrounding caused by endothermic or exothermic transitions or by changes in the heat capacity. The main use of DTA is to detect thermal processes and to characterize them as exothermic or endothermic, reversible or irreversible, but only quantitatively. And also, a DTA is used to ascertain the heating range of precipitate in which the precipitates remain stable. These data are used in gravimetric analysis. Here, the figure shows that the amorphous polymer structure and semi-crystalline polymer structure with aligned chains in the crystalline regions and random structure in the amorphous region. Both shows that in if we see the graph of the amorphous and semi-crystalline polymer structure, both shows that is only the semi-crystalline polymer as the crystallization exothermic. Here uh, in the so one undergoes into the decomposition and the another undergoes the crystallization as well as the melting. And therefore it is the DTA is used very useful in the identification of dyes and the melting it is used to determine the melting point, and differential thermal analysis is used for the quality control of a large number of substances like cement, glass, textiles, explosive, etc. DTA technique is used to study the thermal stability of inorganic compounds and complexes, and it is also used to ascertain the heating range of precipitate in which the precipitate remain stable. These data are used in gravimetric analysis, that is about regarding the stability of the precipitate. In this class, we learnt about the principle, instrumentation, and applications of differential thermal analysis. The principle of differential thermal analysis says that the substance to be analyzed and an inert reference material like Halba alumina are heated or cooled in a given environmental and at controlled rate. Whenever the substance to be analyzed undergoes an endothermic change, like when it melts or when it is dehydrates, the temperature of the substance will be lower than that of the reference material. On the other hand, if the substance to be analyzed undergoes exothermic changes, its temperature will be higher than that of the reference material. When the substance undergo observation does not undergo any heat change, there will be no difference in temperature between the sample and the reference material. These temperature differences are plotted against the temperature or time, then we are getting the thermogram of differential thermal analysis. And then we discussed about the instrumentation of differential thermal analysis. In the instrumentation of the differential thermal analysis, it consists of um, some of the major parts. They are the furnace sample holder and detector or temperature sensors and recorder. In furnace is used to heat the sample, and the holder is used to hold the sample and also the reference material. A furnace programmer and controller to increase the furnace and sample block temperature at a linear rate per minute. This is done either by increasing the voltage through the heater element, by a motor driven or variable transformer, or by a thermocouple actuated feedback type of the controller. And by using the detector, these are the thermocouple assemblies inserted separately in the sample and the reference material. These uh, these are continuously measure the difference in temperature between the sample and the reference, and it is sent to the amplifier. And then after amplification, the signals got from the thermocouple amplified about 1,000 times, and the different signals is recorded on the y-axis of the millivolt recorder. The temperature of the furnace is measured by a separate thermocouple and is recorded on the x-axis. So this is the instrumentation behind DTA we have discussed, and we have discussed about the applications. The major application of the DTA is it is used in the identification of dyes and used in the determination of the melting point, and it is used in quality control in the substances like cement, glass, textiles, and explosive, and it is uh, used to study the thermal stability of inorganic compounds and complexes, and it is also used in to identify the range of the precipitate in which the precipitate remains stable in gravimetric analysis. I hope you understood about the principle of differential thermal analysis and the instrumentation of DTA, and also the applications of differential thermal analysis. In the next class, we shall discuss about characteristics of differential thermal analysis curves. In DTA, that is differential thermal analysis, a plot is made between the difference in temperature and temperature or time. Here, the shape and the size of the peaks can give a large amount of information about the nature of the test sample. Here, the endothermic peaks significantly changes in crystallinity of a fusion process. The broad endothermic peaks indicate dehydration reaction, that is the physical changes give the endothermic curves. So we will discuss about in detail about the characteristics of differential thermal analysis curves in the next class. I hope you all understood. Thank you.